Alright, so let's see how to use Excel to rank our data. And remember, we're ranking the data so that we can use non-parametric statistics so that we reduce the influence of outliers that would have really skewed our data if we were using statistics that compare means, a la parametric stats. Instead, we're using statistics that compare medians, a la non-parametric stats. Alright, so we've already talked about ranking data and things like that. So keep those things that you learned about ranking data and rank averages in mind as we walk through this, and hopefully this will help you as well. So first I need to combine my two sets of data because I really want to have them in order of 1, 1, 2, 3, no matter which group this comes from, I need to have them in order. So you'll see here I have my two groups of data, and I've just colored one in red so I can keep track of which comes from which group. And so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy the data and put this in a column that will have the combined data. And you can see here in a second why I have my different colors, because now I have one full set of group, but I know that anything in red came from group 2 and anything from black came from group 1. Alright? And I'm going to just go ahead and copy this over one more time because in a second I'm going to change this data. So now I want to put this data in order. And in order to do that, basically I'm going to select the data and I'm going to go to data and I want to and I just want to sort these numbers, but I want to sort these numbers from smallest to largest. All right? And so if I hit OK, you can see now that the data is indeed sorted from smallest to largest. And again, the data that was in red is still in red, so I still know which data points came from group 1 versus group 2. All right? So then I want my possible ranks. And I'm going to put that over here so it's easier to kind of see the calculated ranks in between. But I'm going to have my linear ranking is just literally saying this is data point number 1, this is data point number 2, this is data point number 3, and so forth. And Excel has this cool thing where if you have everything going in a sequential order and you have at least 3 points of it, you can then continue that on. This doesn't only work for counting, but you could do this from counting by 3. So if I had 0, 3, 6, I could copy that and then it would know to count by 3s and so forth. So it just is continuing that on. So here are my rankings in terms of what order these come in. So now I need to basically have my calculated ranks. And so these basically, this is also known as the rank averages. So what are the rank averages? Well, these two data points are the same and they are between 1 and 2, so I'm going to call both of them 1.5. All right. Number 2 and number 2 are 3 and 4, so those both get 3.5. Here's 2 3s, 5.5 and 5.5. We have 3 4s. The 3 4s are 7, 8, and 9. So the average of 7, 8, 9 are 8. So all 3 of the 4s get an rank average of 8. 5 is by itself, so its rank average is just its linear ranking, number 10. It's at 10. And then 7. 2 7s, so they're both at 11.5, 11.5, and I'm not sure why that one colored black, but I know that it was from, or red, but I know it was from this black data point, so I can go back and just kind of fix that because the data points all should be the same. And 8s, again, average 13.5. And then 9 is itself, so it's 15, and 12 is itself, it's 16. And I'm just going to check and see if Excel did something wrong here, and that one should be from data group 1. And now we have our rank averages for all these data points. So now I need to separate them back out. So this is actually pretty easy. So these are the rank averages. I want my group 1 back together, so I'm going to select, and if I hold down Control, it'll just allow me to add to my selection. So I'm just going to select all the data that was a part of group 1 and copy it, and then I can just paste it over here. So there's my group 1 ranked data now, and then I'm going to do the same for group 2. So all the red data points came from group 2, so I'm going to select by holding down Control as I select all the red data points, and then I'm going to copy those, and then I'm just going to put them over here, and then that gives me, now I can sum the rank averages. So equals sum some of that data there, and that data right there. And if you remember over here, this is exactly what we did. We put all that together, and then we ended up with the sum 52.5 and 83.5. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to use Excel's actual rank average function. So basically, Excel has a function that if you use it right will do all of these steps for you. But it is important that you understand kind of what's going on behind it. That's why we spent a little bit of time talking about how to rank data and what rank averages mean. But with that in mind, I can basically take this same data, and I've got the group 1 and group 2 copied down here. And I'm just going to make an extra copy over here so that I can actually put the ranked averages. So I'm going to call this rank average of group 1. And I'm going to call this rank average of group 2. All right, so how do we do this? Well, here's the function over here. So we type in equals rank average, and you find it. And the rank average has 3 data points. So you need to pick the first cell, so the cell that this is the equivalent of. So if this is rank average group 1, then that cell that it's comparing is this cell right here, right? And then I need the full range of data. So the second after I hit comma is the full range of data. This is all the data that I am using the rank averages for. And then I need an order. So 0 for descending, 1 for ascending. Almost always you use an ascending order. An ascending order just means that you are going from lowest number to highest number, from as you rank lowest to highest. So we're going to ascend with 1. Then hit enter. Now, if this is all I did, and I copied this down, I've got a problem. Because you can see here that because I did not put $signs around my data is moving with it. Yes, I wanted this number to move down because I want it to be comparing 7, but I still want it with this whole group of data. So what can I do there? All right, so what I can do here, I'm going to get rid of this because we don't want that. In my first data point, I want this number to change, so I'm going to leave it alone. I want it to move with my data points because I'm always, this point should be comparing this number, but if I slide over here, I want it comparing this number. If I slide down here, I want it comparing that number. But what I don't want to change is this data range. This data range is always the same. I don't want that sliding down or over. So we know how to do this. We've seen the $signs before. So if I put a $sign around the B, that's going to freeze the column and freeze the number. And it's going to do that for the whole data set. So now I've just frozen the data set to this group no matter what I move. And so I can hit enter, and now when I copy this down, and I even copy it kind of over for using group 2, down, I can go and check this. So if I'm looking at this data point is indeed using this number here to calculate the rank average, but it still is calculating it based on the same data set because I've used $signs, so that hasn't moved. Right? And I can check that over here as well. This one should be looking at this data point, and yes, indeed it is, and it should be looking at still at the full data set. We're good to go. So here it basically gave me my rank averages. Right? And it looks different here because here the rank averages were in order. I didn't even have to put those in order, but if we come down here and we go to sum, I can find my sums, equals sum, you can see that I get to the exact same point that I had over here. Right? And in fact, if I ordered these in the same order, I would have, so take a look up here, I would have 1.5 and then a 3.5 and then another 3.5. So this is the exact same data as when we did it manually. I just haven't ordered it here. All I had to do was use the rank average value. So, but what you have to remember is those $signs around the data set. So the data set should not move when we're copying and pasting this for all the rest of the data. So we need dollar signs around the data set. Right? But if you set this up right, you can just quickly go boom. You can take your data from the multiple groups and you can get the rank averages, and then you can get the sum. And this is going to be the first part to really doing statistical analyses from there. All right? So we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to do the Mann-Whitney U-test in the next video. So we're going to use this ranking to actually do some statistics, and then the last video that I'll have for you after that is really just some other non-parametric stats that we won't worry about learning how to do, but just so you know that it's there and those are options in case you have data that fits that. Right? So what you really need to remember from this is what rank averages is doing and how to use Excel to get your rank averages.